Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Simone here. So today I'm going to be talking about my October TBR, so all the books I plan on reading in October. Now September didn't go as well for me because my boyfriend and I are kind of getting into a new routine, and so I just haven't had the time to read as much this month as I would like to. I'm still planning on doing a TBR and hoping that it will give me the motivation to kind of get reading a bit more. I do plan on the beginning of this month just reading the three stand up to the TBR books that I haven't finished last month. Now when I film this it's a few days early for the end of September, so possibly I might finish them in the rest of the month, but if I don't, I'm going to read them at the beginning of October just because I want to do a stand up to the TBR video at the end of October sometime, and obviously I need to have read them by then. But the other books I plan on reading I'm going to talk about today. So the first two I have are NetGalley books that I have been sent by the publishers to give a review of, and so I have two of them. Now the two I've got this month are actually ones that have already come out, and they both came out in July I believe, but I still want to read them and talk about them on this channel. I was sent a book called A Bad Boy Stole My Bra by Lauren Price, and that was sent to me by Black and White Publishing, so thank you very much to them. This book I believe follows a girl who wakes up one morning to find her new neighbour hanging out of her bedroom window holding her bra, and I don't know anything else about the story. It sounds weird, it sounds interesting, and hopefully it'll be really good. I don't think I've heard many people talking about this, but I feel like it's probably going to be quite funny anyway, so yeah, that's definitely one I wanted to read this month. And then the other one I was sent was a book called A Girl Behind Dark Glasses by Jessica Taylor Behrman, and this was sent to me by #Press, so again thank you to them. But this is actually a memoir about Jessica, who has ME I believe, and I really want to read this because chronic illness is something that I have some experience of, not myself, but my mum suffers from fibromyalgia, so I do understand the chronic illness, and kind of a lot of people around me generally as well also have it at work and things like that. So I don't know too much about ME specifically, so I'm quite interested to find out a bit more and kind of be a bit more educated about it basically. And yeah, I've heard this is quite a good one, so again it's already out, so do go and check it out if you haven't, but hopefully I will really enjoy this one and it will be a good one to read this month. Then usually, you know, I do 3 library books, 3 stand up to the TBR books, but I don't have any stand up to the TBR books left apart from the ones obviously from last month, and I'm not taking books out of the library right now just because I'm trying to kind of read books on my shelf. So I've just picked 6 books that I really wanted to read, and I want to talk about them here. I'm going to be totally honest with you, I know that October is kind of the spooky reads. I haven't really got any spooky reads on this list just because, as I said before, I'm not really a seasonal reader. I probably will make a video to do with Halloween books and kind of spooky reads, but it's just not something that I specifically will read at that time of year. You know that I read thrillers a lot of the time throughout the year anyway, so yeah. So this is going to be an interesting one, but let's talk about those now. So the first one I have is Bitten by Kelly Armstrong. Now this is a book, I believe there's a Netflix series, which is what sort of introduced me to the idea of the story in the first place. But it's about a girl named Elena Michaels who is actually the only female werewolf. And one day something happens, she's trying to live a normal life, but she gets kind of sucked back into the pack and things like that, and I think that she kind of has to decide whether or not to help them, and she doesn't really have a choice really either. So yeah, this sounds like a really interesting one. Again, I really want to watch the TV series, so I feel like if I read this then I'm allowed to watch the TV series. Up next I have a short one. It's actually a sort of middle grade story I believe, but this is a story that I've obviously heard lots about as a child. This is kind of like a classic children's story, and I've watched lots of adaptations of it, but I've never actually read the book, so hopefully I will get around to it this month. And that is Robin Hood by Henry Gilbert. This is one of the Wordsworth Classics editions, which I think are really, really beautiful. I just love the illustration on the front of here. Again, I don't really need to explain too much what Robin Hood is, but it's about an outlaw who lives in Sherwood Forest, yeah, with a kind of tribe of merry men, and Maid Marian, I believe, is the other one as well, yeah. And he robs from the rich to give to the poor, and that's really all I need to say. Next up I have The Red House by Mark Haddon. Mark Haddon is the author of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which is a book I haven't actually read, but this book sounded like something that was really interesting to me. It's kind of about family dynamics and things like that. I think this is about a brother and sister, Angela and Richard, who have they haven't spoken to each other for about 20 years, and then their mother dies. And Angela and her family and Richard and his family all decide to go on holiday, or they stay in this one house, the Red House I'm assuming, together, the 8 of them, and it's about what happens there, and then it's about them confronting each other and the truth of what's happened over the years. And this sounds really interesting. I'm quite interested in the kind of family dynamics of like people not getting on and then how they kind of resolve that. So yeah, I'm really interested. I've heard that this is quite a sad book that might make me cry, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, really interested in this, and if I like this then I will hopefully buy a copy of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. The next book is actually a new series that I'm going to start. Apparently I haven't learnt my lesson. As you'll know from my video I uploaded on Monday, I was talking about all the series I haven't finished yet, so yes, apparently starting a new one is a good idea, and I do own all the books in this series however, so hopefully I will actually read them. And the first one of that is Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, which is a dystopian story about a society where when you turn 16 you become a pretty, but before that you are an ugly. And I believe it's about the main character, who's called Tally, who is nearly at the point of becoming a pretty when something happens to her best friend. I think her best friend runs away, and she has to either decide whether to turn her friend in and become a pretty or whether to stick with her. And I'm really interested in this. Like I said, I love dystopian stories generally, so this is definitely one of those ones that I'm excited for. And like I said, I think there might be 4 books in the series. I've got the first 3 books, so this is one that if I really like then hopefully I can continue on. And also these don't take me very long to read, and the writing is quite large in it, so yeah, this could be quite a good one. Next up is a book that I bought my boyfriend for, I think his birthday or maybe Christmas a couple of years ago, and he's actually read it, and so I'm going to read it to see what I think. He liked it, he didn't love it I think, so I'm interested to see what my perspective of it is. So this is Secondborn by Amy A. Bartol, and I don't know too much about this other than I think it's got something to do with firstborns are like the rulers of society, secondborns are the property of the government, and thirdborns are not tolerated. And I think again it sounds kind of dystopian in nature, so this sounds quite good. I don't know though, I know he had some issues with it, so possibly I will have those issues as well. Or maybe I'll love it, so we'll find out once I've read it. And the last one of the kind of ones I've decided just to pick off my shelves is Wonder by R.J. Palacio, which is about a young boy named August Pullman, I think, yeah, who has a severe facial deformity, and so it's about him going to school and going through life with that and how he deals with it. I went to see a film with my friend from work maybe a year or so ago, and the trailer for Wonder was actually showing in the cinema beforehand, and it looked really, I mean it got me quite emotional just watching the trailer, so I can only imagine the film will really make me like beside myself. But I really want to read the book first, because I don't like to watch films without having read the book first if I know that they are films. This copy also has like film photographs inside as well, so that could be quite interesting, and hopefully yeah, I'll really like this one. It's meant to be quite a good read. I've heard lots of people love it, so yeah, I'm excited. So then we're on to my 3 books from a specific genre, and this month I've picked historical fiction. Now, as I said before, I know a lot of people like to read spooky books in October. For me, I like cosy books, I like historical fiction, it just makes me happy, and I had some good ones on my shelves that I want to get to, so these are the 3 that I've picked. The first one, although cosy, is literally heartbreaking. I've actually seen the film of this before and it made me cry a lot, so I feel like I'm interested to see whether the book makes me cry as well, or if it's done in a quite different way or not. And this is The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne, which follows a young boy named Bruno whose father works for Hitler and the kind of Nazi regime in general, and they move from their normal big house that they have to a small area in the countryside. Now what he doesn't know is that they are actually living very close to the concentration camp of Auschwitz, I believe. I believe it's Auschwitz, actually I'm not sure. It's definitely a concentration camp, I'm not sure which. But Bruno is bored because there's nobody around, none of his friends are there, and so he goes exploring in the kind of woods around the area, and he comes across a fence and a little boy who's sitting the other side of the fence called Shmuel, who's wearing striped pyjamas, and he doesn't quite understand it, and they strike up a bit of a friendship, and it's kind of about that and the, obviously, things that happen in the Second World War as it goes along, and he doesn't really understand what's happening and why. And yeah, I loved the film of this. It was like a beautiful film, so it obviously terrifying and horribly sad. But yeah, I'm interested to read the book because, like I said, I've seen the film a couple of times now. Then the next one I don't know too much about the storyline of, but I've heard a lot of people raving about this, and I believe it's been made into a film again, so another film that I might get to watch if I read this one. And that is The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Marianne Schaffer and Annie Barrows. I'm just going to read the synopsis because I don't actually know the storyline very much. It says here, it's 1946 and author Juliet Ashton can't think what to write next. Out of the blue, she receives a letter from Dorsey Adams of Guernsey. By chance, he's acquired a book that once belonged to her, and spurred on by their mutual love of reading, they begin a correspondence. When Dorsey reveals that he is a member of the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, Juliet's curiosity is piqued, and it's not long before she begins to hear from other members. As letters fly back and forth with stories of life in Guernsey under the German occupation, Juliet soon realises that the society is every bit as extraordinary as its name. So it sounds really good, and again, it's not very long. I think it's like, what is it? It's not even 250 pages, so again, this is a really quick one that hopefully I'll get through quite quickly, and I'm really excited to read. And then the third and final historical fiction book that I want to read, I think takes place around the First World War. I'm trying to remember the date of the First World War. I think it's 1914 to 1918. So this probably does take time around that, and probably even the Second World War as well. But it's Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, which is a book that I've heard Lauren in the Books talk about all the time. She's like, loves this book so much, and I'm really, really excited to read it because of that, and just because I've heard that this book is really great. This is probably the longest book I've got on the list this month, so this one is one I feel like will take me a little while, but I'm actually really excited about it. It follows there's a snowstorm in England in 1910, and in the first synopsis, or in the first part of the story, a baby is born and then dies before she can take her first breath. In the second like string of this book, the baby is born and lives, and then I believe each time there's like something that happens, there's the girl lives or she dies, and I think it's sort of about that. Again, I don't know too much else about it. I don't even know how they've managed to actually write that in and make it not confusing, because I feel like that could have lots of different strings and be everywhere. So yeah, I'm very curious about it and excited because I know that this has had lots of praise on BookTube, and so I'm excited to read it. So then we're on to my surprise book of the month. I always pick a book from basically I go onto Goodreads and I order them by random, the ones that I own, and I pull one up and I will read whatever that one is for the month. So this one, this month, I'm going to press the button. I have it over here. I'm just going to press the button now. I have pressed it, and we will see what book I'm going to be reading this month. I'm quite interested to read quite a few of the books on my shelf, so let's see what we get. Okay, right, what have we got? Here it is. Oh, that's like stuck in there quite. Oof. Ugh, there we go. Okay, this could be interesting. I have heard a lot about this book, and I'm not that excited to read it, if I'm totally honest with you, but I will read it. We'll see how it goes. I have here Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. I think that's how you say her name, I can't remember. Whitney from Witty Novels is obsessed with this, and I feel like I've heard about this book multiple times on her channel, and it's like her favourite book in the entire world. The thing I don't like about this book, and I don't know the storyline, I know nothing about it, when I opened it, a lot of the story, you won't be able to see because it won't zoom in, but on the back, if you see, it says like, I have a curse, which is crossed out, and then it says I have a gift. Throughout the book, there's a lot of words like actually crossed out inside, and that kind of irritates me, I won't lie. There's like whole sentences crossed out, sometimes there's whole paragraphs crossed out. Like, if you didn't mean to write it, why did you put it in the book? Like, it's frustrating. I know it's supposed to be symbolic, I'm sure, but yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of that writing thing, but maybe I'll enjoy the book and I'll take that all back at the end of the month when I've read it and really loved it. So anyway, this is the one I will be reading for my random pick. We'll see how it goes. So there we have it. That is my October TBR. They are the books that I'm hoping to read in October. Let me know in the comments below what you are going to be reading in October, because I'm really excited. And let me know if you choose to read sort of thriller books in October, or whether you go completely differently like me and read something completely different. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Press the little notification bell if you want notified whenever I upload, which will be Monday and Fridays at 5 PM, so do come back and check out my channel then, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!